2015-16 Sokol USA Fitness Challenge. Event, Shuttle Run. The shuttle run is a training technique for sports which requires participants to perform short bursts of speed. Participants will be timed to determine their fastest time to complete a 10-meter shuttle run. Equipment: 2 lines marked on the floor exactly 10 meters apart. Tape or paint is suggested for use to mark these lines. Phase 1, the start. The participant takes a starting position behind the line closest to the timer. This is the start-finish line. Phase 2, sprint phase 1. On the signal, run forward to the far line. Touch the far line with your hand. Phase 3, sprint 2. Immediately after touching the far line, sprint back to the start-finish line and touch the start-finish line with your hand. Phase 4, sprint 3. Immediately after touching the start-finish line with your hand, sprint towards the far line a second time. Touch the far line with your hand. Phase 5, final sprint. Immediately after touching the far line a second time, the participant will sprint all the way back across the starting line. The timer will stop the clock when any body part crosses the start-finish line. The participant does not need to touch the line with their hand during the final sprint. This will allow the participant to reach a maximum speed during their final sprint phase of the shuttle run. Scoring: record the time to the nearest tenth of a second. A maximum of 3 attempts should be performed using the lowest amount of time to complete the shuttle run as the participant's official time of completion. Penalty: if a line is not touched by the participant, the shuttle run score will not count. On the third and final attempt, if a line is not touched, a participant will be assessed a 2-second penalty for each line missed. Modification: to prevent extensive lowering of the upper body to touch a line on the floor, an elevated 12-inch cone may be used. The cones must be touched in the same manner as the far line and start-finish line in phases 2, 3, and 4. The participant may still sprint across the start-finish line as described in the final phase of the shuttle run. This modification is permitted for all participants in the men's and women's 50 to 59 and men's and women's 60-plus divisions. An asterisk must be placed next to the time of completion if the modification was used by a participant. The notification of a modification will only be used to break a tie during competition at the 2016 Sokol Fest. A participant who does not use the modification but receives the same score as a participant using the modification will be placed ahead of the participant using the modification. Thank you for your participation in the 2015-16 Sokol USA Fitness Challenge.